Welcome back. We got a full schedule today, and we're definitely going to do some drawings together. We also have a new segment, and Alpha One's going to tell you all about it. Take it away, Alpha One.
Thanks, Jay. Our new segment is called Artist Spotlight. It's to celebrate great influential artists and their work. Today, Jay talks about Jack Kirby.
My favorite comic book creator and artist is hands down Jack Kirby. Growing up, he loved to watch the old movie serials and read the pulps, as well as science fiction novels and the great comic strips of the time. And this really inspired his imagination. And it also gave him the dreams to become an artist himself. He was born Jacob Kurtzberg in 1917 in Manhattan's Lower East Side. He later changed his name to Jack Kirby because a lot of cartoonists at that time were basically doing that, always trying to find really catchy names. And eventually, Jack Kirby is the name that stuck. All during the golden age of comic books, Jack Kirby and his partner Joe Simon created some amazing characters and influenced every kind of artist and comic book of the time. They even created different kinds of genres, including romance comics, war comics, and Western comics. He eventually fought in World War II and was inspired with his partner to create a character to this day is a great symbol of American patriotism. The character is Captain America. Now, a lot of my students know who Stan Lee is because they watch the Marvel movies. He's always appearing in them in different cameo roles, and a lot of people know that he has a lot to do with creating the Marvel Universe. But some of my students think he's an artist and not just a writer, and they don't realize that there's a very important artist that helped create the Marvel Universe that's just as important as Stan Lee, and that guy is Jack Kirby. Jack really knew how to grab your attention, and one of the things I really liked was he didn't make violence, he made action. And there's a big difference with that. You don't have to show horrible things to show that there's some action and some exciting things happening, and Jack Kirby knew that. So next time you go to a Marvel movie, make sure to think of Jack Kirby. And when you go to your comic store, ask the manager there if they know about Jack Kirby. He can show you some of his work.
And now, let's get ready to draw. You will need several sheets of paper, and a pencil, and a ruler. Grab your supplies. We'll wait.
I wish I could draw that. I can't tell you how many times students have asked me to show them different things that are just too hard to draw. And one of the things they always bring up is drawing bodies. Is that hard for you to draw? Well, it's hard for me to draw too. Have you ever seen one of these things? This here is called a mannequin, an artist mannequin. And artists use these to create poses and to help them basically make the human figure. But if you see, it's kind of hard to pose. They come in all kinds of sizes, but I found that these are really, really difficult to pose. Kind of looks like an action figure, doesn't it? Here's an action figure. This here is the Sea Ghost. He's one of my characters from the Captain Eli books. You guys might have your own action figures at home, but you know, they actually pose a little bit easier than even that artist mannequin does. And you can actually use your own action figures to create poses. But what I'm going to show you right now is how to create an action figure and basically a mannequin like this that you can have in your head at all times and work out on the paper to work out different poses and different ways of showing action.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
So this stick figure looks really simple, doesn't it? Maybe too simple. But you really need to know how to draw stick figures to draw some of the most complicated characters and do some of the posing that I showed you before. So we're going to make something called a super stick figure. Now for this, you're going to need an extra tool. We're going to need a ruler.
I am ready to take command of this program.
Now that you have your ruler and a fresh sheet of paper, let's get started. We're going to draw something I like to call a super stick figure. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our ruler and right at the top, above 1 inch, put a little line, and we're going to go down 8 inches. So at every inch, we're going to make a little guideline. So at 1, make a line, at 2, at 3, at 4, at 5, 6, 7, and 8. Well, now that we got to 8, we're going to draw a line right across like this. And this is going to be the bottom of our figure, and we're going to put a line at the top, and this is the top of our figure. Have you ever drawn a figure and you draw it on the page, but then it runs off the page and you can't fit on the feet, or a hand runs off? Happens to me. Happens to a lot of different artists. But if you do this, you're going to be able to put the entire figure on the page at once. Okay, so the reason why we made these little marks is because it's all based on the size of the head. And what I'm going to do is, in that first mark right up here, I'm going to make an oval. And this is basically going to be the head of my stick figure. What we're working on here is something called body proportion. Body proportion is all about the size of the head and then figuring out the rest of the body based on that size. So keep an eye out for this, and we'll go a little deeper as we get further into this. Let's make a center line right down, right in the middle. Now, why this is important, it's a guideline, but it also is like the spine of our figure. Everyone has a backbone. Our backbone, our shoulders, and our hips are going to determine very much how a character is posed. So we'll get into that in a few minutes. Okay, at the halfway point, here's the second head, right? There's one head, here's the second head. At the halfway point, I'm going to put a little mark. I'm going to go all the way down, right here to this third head, and I'm going to draw in another oval. A little bit bigger this time, okay? I'm going to go back down to the halfway point of the next head, and right at this mark here, I'm going to draw a little box. Darken in the lines here. So I have a neck, here's the rest of the spine. So what I've created here is a torso. I have a head, and now this is the chest area, and I'm going to put in a little angle to show that for the rib cage. And right here are the hips. Now while I'm there, I can put in 2 shoulders, which are going to be represented as 2 circles, and 2 hips right down here. Okay? Now, I know it's kind of weird, but let's keep going. Do you kind of see a skeleton starting to form here? Because that's what we're making. We're making a skeleton, basically. Okay, let's go up from the feet, right here, halfway point. And I'm going to draw very lightly a slight line curving all the way down for the legs. Okay? And at that halfway point, I'm going to put in 2 triangles for feet. And then right here, what do you know, right at that halfway point here, 2 knees. Let's darken in the legs a little, put a little curve there. Okay? Now I want to show you something. We don't even have to use the ruler. If you measure from here to here, and then from the knee to the feet, it's the exact same length. So sometimes when you're drawing a figure, I notice a lot of people make the shins kind of short. The shins are just as long as the thigh. Okay? Now, if you stand up and you put your hand down at your side and you stick your thumb out and you bang it right across to your thigh, your thumb goes right across the halfway point of the thigh. So we're putting in another guideline, and we know the hands are going to go there. So now I can bring another guideline back up to the shoulders. Okay? When you put your hands down to your side, your elbow runs right into the bottom of your rib cage. And we did that right here. So we made another guideline like this. Look what we got. Put in the elbow. Okay? So I'm going to lose some of our guidelines now. Take a look at what we have. Again, the guidelines are lines we don't need. That's good enough for now. And I'll darken in. And there we have it. This is your super stick man. It could be a robot, right? Sure. It could even be a skeleton. Yeah, exactly. So the more you practice this figure, you can take this figure and then in your own mind and use your own imagination, rotate him around, give him poses, make him fly, make him swim. I'll give you an example right here. I'm going to make this guy, here's the head again, his spine, rib cage, hips, putting in the shoulders, putting in the hips, but now here are his arms, going up, legs going down. See that? And look, basically the same measurements from shoulder to elbow to hand is about the same, and it's about the same from hip to knee, and then from knee to the foot. And so if it doesn't look right in places, all you got to do is adjust it a little bit. If I want to make my figure run, I start with my head again. Here's his spine, oval for his rib cage, box for his hips. This leg is forward, triangular foot. This foot is back. So with the running figure, we're going to use something called contrapposto. Now, Alpha 1 will tell you what that word's all about.
Contrapposto, an asymmetrical arrangement of the human figure in which the line of the shoulders is opposite to the hips.
Now, contrapposto is really, really important because wherever the hips go or wherever the shoulders go, the hips and the shoulders are always going to be doing the opposite. And that's where you get characters looking dynamic in their poses. So here, we've got the left leg forward. That means the left arm will be back, right? And on the opposite side, from behind, we'll see that arm forward. But you basically get the idea here. Even if I want a character sitting, I draw the spine, chest area, hips. Now legs are down. I can put them in a chair, like that. Here they're typing at their computer, at their desk. And I can start putting in all these figures. So the more you practice this figure and the more you get to know this stick figure, it's going to be easier to throw in different poses and come up with different ways of making your character look dynamic. Now that we figured out how to make poses with a super stick figure, let's do something really, really important to cartooning. It's something called a model sheet. Now, a model sheet is a picture of a character, but then we see this character from different views. Like we did in the first show, we used different guidelines to figure out how to draw a character over and over again. When you're drawing a comic book and telling a story, you need to show that character from all sorts of angles and doing all sorts of different things. And the more that you can figure out ahead of time, it makes things a lot easier. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to create a model sheet together. We're going to come up with a whole new imaginary character, and we're going to draw that character from the front the side, and the back. So the first thing we're going to do is get your ruler out. And right now I'm going to draw, well, you take a look at what this is. And you tell me what it is. Does that look like a snowman? Yeah, kind of, the beginning of a snowman. This character is going to be 3 heads high. The same way we made the other character 8 heads high, we're going to do less heads and make a much cuter character. Think about all the characters out there that are 3 heads high. Maybe Garfield, maybe Mickey Mouse, maybe Jiminy Cricket. Yeah, there's a ton of characters out there that are 3 heads high. So what we're going to do is, at the bottom of our first snowball here, we're going to draw a line all the way across. Nice straight line, as straight as we can be. And then we're going to do the exact same thing at the top. Just like that. Now they're kind of uneven, but try to get it as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. The next guideline I'm going to use is right where the head and the body meet. We're going to draw another straight line, keep it as straight as we can. And then where the body and the legs meet, we're going to put another straight line. Now, this is going to be my front view. To make things clear, I'll write front right here. I'll even draw a line right down the side, give myself a little room. Okay. And then he's about this wide. We're going to measure again, kind of there. Draw another line. Try to keep it as straight as we can. Okay. This is our side view. And what do you know? We got a back view. Okay. So the first thing I have to do is draw my figure. And I'm going to make a funny, cute little clown character. So I'm just going to start drawing my character. You guys can follow along with me. I'm going to throw in some eyes, eyebrows. Okay. Give him a big clown nose. Give him a smile. Kind of clown face. Throw in some ears like that. He's got some curly hair on the side of his head. And I'm going to put like a opposite S shape kind of thing like that. So he's got a little hair at the top. Okay, so there's his head. I'm going to give him a bow tie. Okay. And right about halfway across this circle is where his pants are going to be. I can give him a belt, 2 buttons. Okay. Now, we're going to give him really big feet. And if you notice with characters like Garfield and Mickey Mouse that are 3 heads high, they have big feet. They're called Bigfoot characters in the cartooning world. So what we're going to do is halfway, let's go back halfway again here. Okay, draw another guideline. I'm going to draw big circles like that and then connect them, kind of a curved cylinder. Kind of looks like macaroni, huh? And then halfway to the thigh, draw a circle, another circle, and then I can connect them back up to his body. Okay. Let's go in and put his hands in. We're going to put a thumb here, and then let's give him 3 fingers for his hand, kind of like that. See, a lot of cartoon characters have 3 fingers and a thumb. One of the reasons that our animators did that was that it was less things to draw. When you're animating characters, you've got to draw all the time, and having 1 less finger actually made things a lot easier to do. So we're going to put in the thumb, and then the 3 fingers just around that circle, and you could even give them little gloves, like a lot of the animated characters you know that are out there. Okay, so we got a funny looking clown. I'm going to erase some of the lines I don't need. Okay, let's fix his feet a little bit. I'm going to round off the legs there, put a little cuff, okay, and then just darken in his big round feet. And there we have our clown. Now, from this front view, we can figure out how he's going to look from different angles, particularly the side and the back. So let's go into the side view, and let's just start out like we started before with 3 circles, just like a snowman. And now you can go in with your ruler, and let's follow along his eyes. So very lightly, I follow along where his eyes go. And from the side, we're not going to see both eyes. We're only going to see one eye. So there we go. There's his eye, and it matches up. His nose is right below, so I put a little line there. There's his big round nose. Follow again with the ruler where his smile is, and we only see a half smile, right? One eyebrow. The ear goes between the eye and the nose, so we got that. We can throw in his curly hair.
Hold it, cut.
So this guideline right here shows the top of his head, but we got to go a little bit higher up now to get that hair in. So we're going to draw another line across, like that. And then I'm just going to put in that S-shape hair right at the top of his head, coming off the top of his head. Let's go across again with our ruler. Create another guideline for the bottom of his tie. We only see half of his tie again. We only see one arm. Let's follow along again. Here's the bottom. Here's his hand. I'm going to throw in 1, 2, 3 fingers and a thumb. Connect it back up to his shoulder. His belt is right here, right? And we're going to see one leg come down. Oh, here's his foot. Follow along that guideline again, that big, big foot. See that? But we're going to see both legs, and again, we're going to use overlapping. Remember that word we used in the first show? So what we're going to do is we're going to make, on the other side, another line coming down, and then behind that foot, we're going to see the other foot, make the cuff behind it. We got a front view and a side view. It's not perfect, but you can pretty much feel it's the same character every time. Now, the back view is really easy. It's actually just the same as the front. Okay, let's do the back view. Let's go back in and let's start off again. What do you know? 3 circles, our snowman. But things are going to be a little bit different this time. We can go back up here and put in the S-shaped hair. This time it's going to be not an opposite S, but an actual S in the back. We follow across to figure out where the ears go. And then we can throw in his curly hair. And that curly hair is going to go all the way around the back of his head, like that. Okay? We're not going to see his tie. Something that's very helpful is to show, when you're showing the back, to have a line like that. That indicates his spine or his back. Here's again his line where his belt is. Forgot to put in the double line here. I'm going to carry that across. There's his belt. Okay? For his legs, this is how we're going to give the illusion that he's standing and we're seeing him from behind. We're going to draw 2 legs coming down to the feet, just like we did before, like here in the front, pretty much the same. But I'm going to curve those feet upward, like that. Put in the cuffs, okay? Throw in the hands. We've got the guidelines are already there. Thumbs on the inside, 3 fingers on the hand, curve it up. There's the back. Now we're seeing him from the back. So there's our funny clown, and we have 3 different views. We actually have 4 different views. That side view, all you got to do is flip it, and now the character's looking in the opposite direction. So now when you go sit down and draw your story out and write your story out, start making your comic, you have 3 to 4 different views of your character. So you can redraw that character, and every time it's going to stay nice and consistent.
I wish I could draw that. Is there something you have always wanted to draw, but it is just too difficult? Things like hands, faces, feet, horses, buildings, just to name a few. Send us your idea in an email, and Jay will announce your name on air on our next show and show you how to do it. Good luck, and keep drawing.
Drawing human anatomy is very difficult, so I'm real proud of what you did today. You know, we're going to be drawing other things that are really difficult too. A lot of students will bring up things like hands, feet, faces, and in the next few weeks we'll be working on those exact subjects. So remember, the creativity is always inside you, not in the paper. I'll talk to you soon.